everybody. Welcome back to Mysterious Pals. My name's Chris. This week, we are home, not in the dungeon that is the Mysterious HQ.
You're in the dungeon. You're in the dungeon. I'm not.
Yeah. Before we talk about that issue, I'm going to introduce you to old Blueberries himself, Jordan. Jordan's here.
Speaking of blueberries, this is gonna sound weird. So I still have Count Chocula left.
Oh God, I love it.
There's the blueberry. Isn't there a blueberry?
Blueberry.
Yeah. I still have some Count Chocula left, man. It's still fantastic. So glad I got it. Little cereal talk.
You still have it? It's still good?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I don't know what they put in that so it's not like stale, but it's still going strong.
A lot of cancerous preservatives.
Yeah, probably have cancer and all that kinds of
fine.
stuff, but it still tastes great.
Yeah, like I said, one box and a year, 2 boxes a year, but when you don't have it for a few months, you're like, man, I really miss that crap. But then you eat like an entire box, you're like, oh, I don't want to eat this crap again. There's so much. You feel like there's, I don't know, like a lot of sodium maybe.
That's the thing. Is it really that good, or just the fact that it only comes around like it's like a
Oh, it's definitely one
limited
thing.
Limited kind of thing. Okay. All right.
Yeah, man, I love that stuff. But I know if I had some right now, I'd be like, this is great. Eat a whole box and be like, I'm good. Never want to eat this crap again.
And I'm sick. I have diabetes.
Yeah, that's not good. That stuff's delicious, though. I love Count Chocula. Anyway, we are not together this week. You are not in the Mysterious HQ.
No.
You can see I'm
in my own little HQ, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, the old honey HQ over there. I got over my corner, my shoulder. For those who are watching on the video feed, you can see that chair's over there where Jordan's supposed to be sitting.
It's empty.
It's empty. I put that in the background on purpose. That's where he's supposed to be. Maybe I'll just put his head over there and just stick it there. But anyway, Jordan, I want to say it's a little cold outside. We are not together this week. For all those who are watching at home, if you're listening, you probably don't even know what the hell we're talking about because you're like, I don't see anything. But we are doing this separate video feeds. Old school, not really old school, like kind of what every other podcast does. Just not in person, that type of thing.
I miss your face.
Yeah, miss just kissing you on the forehead before you come in my house. It's really cold outside today. This is being recorded, a week before it goes up. It's really cold outside.
Yeah, and winter's still a thing. Like there's still snow's still a thing, which is we haven't been used to that here.
Jordan texted me and said, "Hey, the roads are bad out here. What the hell?" Because I don't think it was snow in the forecast.
I was not expecting it at all. I like getting ready to go, walked outside. I was like, oh, look at that.
I was thinking about texting and being like, hey, my road is completely covered in snow because, again, we have to plow ourselves. No one did that.
In your compound.
It's frozen, so no one's going out there to plow. And it's cold, so it sucks being on a quad plowing. And also, it's not going to do much because it's all just a big sheet of ice. Yeah. So we just gun it and hope for the best and get out. But it's when I was coming down, I was like, I should probably warn him that he could probably park at the top of the street and I'll come get him. But I figured it'd be funny to watch you slide and do spins down the hill and slam into a tree.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, that's cool. Anyway, Jordan, you're here to take us on a wild ride.
Yes.
Where are we going this week on the frozen, was it the mysterious Polar Express here?
The first one I ask you, what's the most annoying sound to you?
Well, I'd say top 2 is talking to you. Top 3 is top 1. Yeah, top 1 is my voice. I would probably say myself. I think it's so annoying listening to myself.
I don't think anyone likes listening to herself. I don't know. I guess some people do. They're probably maniacs, but I think to me, it's the sound of teeth on a fork.
Oh yeah, horrible. Or
like,
forks on a plate.
Oh yeah, that scraping sound.
Like Ace Ventura.
Yeah. Or Dumb and Dumber. So if what's the most annoying sound in the world? They started doing the screech sound in the car, the van.
Yeah, that's not too bad. It's the teeth on the Yeah, teeth on a fork sucks.
So I asked you that. Obviously, if you're listening to this, the few people that are, put in the comments, what do you think the
All
most
6
annoying
of you.
sound in the world? Yeah. What do you think the most annoying sound in the world is? The reason I asked
Please, if you're going to say us, why are you listening this far in?
Yeah, that's fair. The reason I asked you that question, Chris, and to our listeners, their mystery deals with the noise, sound. This week, we're going to be talking about the Taos Hum. Have you heard of this?
The what?
Taos Hum.
Taos? Like T-A-L-A-U?
Taos. T-A-O-S.
Oh, okay.
Taos.
Okay.
The Taos Hum is a mysterious, persistent, low-frequency sound reported primarily in and around the small town of Taos, New Mexico, here in the United States.
Ooh.
Often, ew? Did you say ew? Ew, New Mexico.
No, I meant like that has to suck that the whole town's hearing it, I guess.
It's not a whole town. It's a small portion of this town that hears this.
Okay.
It's often described as a faint droning or rumbling noise. The sound is unique in that it is perceived by a small percentage of the population. Only 2% of the people in town hear this noise, making it both
2%.
subjective and a localized phenomenon. This phenomenon became widely known in the early 1990s when residents of Taos began reporting hearing the sound.
Okay.
So we're gonna go who's affected by this? Who's hearing this? The population of Taos, according to Wikipedia, the 2021 census, the population is around 6,567 people. If that's the case, if only 2% of people are hearing it, only 131 people are actually hearing this noise.
That's still a lot of people.
Yeah.
And for them to hear something super annoying.
Right. One source I looked at said that the town population size is closer to 8,000, so that would make about 160 people. But still.
Yeah, still.
There's also been reports of tourists hearing this as well when they go there, because it's kind of become like people become fascinated by it and go to this town for this reason alone. Reports came from diverse individuals, including artists, retirees, professionals, indicating no clear demographic pattern. It's also it's not gender specific. However, most are middle-aged, and there's a belief that the women hear it more. Those that can hear the hum, known as hearers.
Hearers?
Hearers.
Hearers?
Claims that it mostly comes when they're indoors and mostly at night when it's quiet to hear the hum. They're usually inside. It has to usually be quiet for them to hear this hum. Some of the hearers say the sound is similar to that of a distant diesel engine, a whirring, low-pitched buzz, an E-flat note, or a bass woofer. I don't really know anything about a bass woofer, like a really loud bass woofer.
And so it's a hum, but it's also
so sorry, like this is all different ways that it's been described to people that can hear it.
Okay.
So some say it's like a diesel engine. They hear in the distance. Some say it's a whirring. Some say it's a low-pitched buzz. It's an E-flat note, or some say it sounds like a loud bass woofer. And I looked up, because I don't know anything about music, I looked up the sound of an E-flat note, and like if I heard that consistently, I would probably want to kill myself.
Is it like a brown note?
Makes you poop. Well, actually, so we're going to go into that. The sound isn't consistent for all hearers. It may fluctuate in intensity or appear intermittently. Some describe it as a continuous hum. Others say it's rhythmic or a pulsing sound.
So
they're good.
Sorry. So people are hearing this all the time?
So sometimes it's all the time. Sometimes it comes and goes. Sometimes it's a constant noise, like a low pitch noise. Sometimes it's like a pulsing. That makes it more difficult for like people trying to study this. Like they're all hearing it differently. These hearers, it's harder. It makes like people studying it's harder to identify like what it actually is that they are hearing. They'll describe it in different ways.
Is this kind of like that thing in what was the name of that? The people that got lost in the Arctic, Russians. The Donner Party or no?
Dyatlov Pass?
Yeah, Dyatlov Pass. Dyatlov Pass, yeah.
If you go back and watch it, you find out I can't pronounce that word at all. So I just said it right.
So is it like one of those things where the wind's making a sound that it like because of the mountains?
I
Is
mean,
that
this
a
isn't a
theory?
mountainous area, but like that is one of the things. Like it's like a climate thing or nature related kind of thing. Hearers often describe the sound as intrusive, with some reporting physical and psychological effects such as nausea, headaches, dizziness, sleep disturbances, and diarrhea. There you go. There's a brown note.
It is a brown note. A natural brown note. It's like if the earth had like the earth got like angry at us. That's probably what it would do. Kind of like that they
The
need to make the
happening,
happening too. Yeah.
just a note. Everyone just diarrheas.
Yeah, so instead of like
They become so
killing
dehydrated they
themselves.
just die.
Yeah. And
They
Mark
be
Wahlberg's still
pooping
like
everywhere.
confused as hell.
That was, I mean, imagine being one of these people. If this is like a real thing, like one of the sources I was reading said this, like if you see something you don't like, you can just shut your eyes, right? But when you hear something like this, you can't. There's no shutting off your hearing. You can put like headphones on or whatever, like plug your ears,
Yeah.
but you still hear it. There's like no escaping it for these people.
Well, yeah, there's like that place in North or West Virginia that's like a super it's like there's like some kind of satellite or some kind of telescope or something there that's super protected by the military and by the government, and you're not allowed to have any radio frequencies or anything radio based there. Like so no cell phones, no TV, no, like nothing like that.
Why is that? Do you think?
It's because it messes with the telescope thing that's there.
God, okay.
So it's like this one town like area, so many square miles that you cannot have any radio interference. And people move there because they think there's like the people that are allergic to like society or like the sound waves. Like there's people that think they're allergic to radio waves.
Okay.
Whether it's true or not, I'm not sure. I
Like
want to say
allergic?
it's
What do you mean by allergic? Like,
they think that like the radio waves in the air give them problems. Like
okay.
it's also some of it's like the pseudoscience stuff or like internet waves give you problems.
Wait, wasn't that thing with the 5G towers being built? We're like, oh, they're putting
Yes.
stuff in our heads.
Same type of stuff, but like there are people that say that the radio waves in the air give them skin conditions or mess with their health in some way. Again, I don't know if it's been. I would say that that's not real, but people move there because of that, and then
Okay.
it supposedly helps them. I don't know the science behind it, so please don't murder me, but I just don't know. I don't think it's real, but that's because I don't have it, so I wouldn't know.
What about what do you think about people who live like next to power lines? Is that a legit thing? You think?
High power lines, you mean? Like high power lines?
I don't know.
So I'll tell you the story.
There's always that like did you grow up next to power lines? Because like
yeah, I mean there is that like the
people.
the EMF electromagnetic field that's like on those like high powered lines apparently is actually a thing. That is an issue. Whether that messes with you is the thing that science it's like a pseudoscience thing or not. I don't know. I haven't really done a lot of the research on that part of it. I'm pretty sure that it's like one of those things where like not enough stuff has been done or researched on it yet. I don't know. Does that type of thing cause tumors? Does it mess? I don't know.
Birth
But
defects and stuff like that.
like when I was a child and I put a key in my
Socket.
socket in my house and I flew across the room, my mom said. So
Precocious little Chris.
yep. Little fireball he is.
This is the 90s. So this became like a pretty big thing in New Mexico. Like it became well known. So in response to growing public concern, a team of scientists from the University of New Mexico, Los Alamos National Laboratory, India National Laboratories, and the Phillips Air Force Laboratory dispatched in Taos 1993. So like all these like experts came here like something's going on. Let's check this out. Team used advanced equipment to monitor sound, seismic activity, and electromagnetic fields. So like you brought up the electromagnetic field thing. However, the results were inconclusive, and the researchers were unable to identify a source for the Taos Hum using this equipment. The only finding was at the time there was an elevated electromagnetic field level linked to the town's power lines. Their inability to identify the source further fueled public curiosity and alternative theories, and also obviously It's alternative conspiracy theory.
Conspiracies.
Yes.
Who would have thought?
If all these experts coming here, it still has not been solved. So there's some unanswered questions because of this. Why were only some of this population able to hear it? What accounts for the limited group of people who were able to perceive the hum? Are there specific biological or neurological traits that make someone more likely to hear it? Is it a sound or a sensation? While many describe the hum as a sound, others report it as a vibration or pressure, raising the question, is the hum purely auditory or does it involve the other sensory systems? What triggers the hum? Why does the hum appear sporadically rather than continuously in Taos? Could it be influenced by seasonal or environmental changes, or is it tied to human activity? Lastly, are there multiple causes? Could the Taos hum result from a combination of factors such as infrasound, psychological sensitivity, and environmental resonance? If so, how do the factors interact to produce the phenomenon?
Isn't infrasound like the sound from the Outlet Pass?
I
That
don't.
was the sound, or maybe I saw it in a documentary or something.
I don't remember there being a sound. Oh wait, yeah, maybe
For some reason, infrasound is like
there's
something I remember.
there's a sound. I mean, there's a theory that a sound caused them to come out of their tent to begin with.
Yeah.
But I think infrasound is like a very low frequency.
Okay.
That can like mess
Well,
with
because
your.
it comes from the infrared part of the spectrum, which is
That makes sense.
like of the electromagnetic spectrum, I believe is how that works. So like
And
infrared is really low.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's low, but apparently, like for those, if you could hear that, it could possibly mess you up.
Oh wait, so sound waves are not part of the EMF, the electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, sound waves are mechanical waves that require air to travel. Okay, that makes sense. So, uh, the infrared is
At certain hertz, right? 20 or something like that.
yeah, visible. So it's right below the visible spectrum, the
Yeah.
visible light spectrum. But that has nothing to do with yeah. Okay, never mind. Dumb.
So this isn't the only time. This is the only place this has happened. There are some other examples. There's the Windsor hum, which is in Canada. The Bristol hum,
That has to be something.
in the UK. The Auckland hum from New Zealand. So the Bristol hum was in first segment 1970s. No definitive cause was identified. The Auckland hum in New Zealand, heard by residents in the 2010s, also lacking confirmed source. However, the Windsor hum in Canada was attributed to industrial activity on the nearby Zug Island. There's a U.S. steel plant. Yeah, there's a U.S. steel plant there across the river. It's right on the border of the United States and Canada. And people there in the Canadian side are like, hey, we think this sound is coming from the U.S. steel factory there, plant. Yeah, steel was like, hey, we have nothing to do with that. But apparently once they turn their blast furnaces off, like they deactivate them, the sound stopped.
Yeah,
blast
blast furnaces are crazy.
So there's some kind of, they're thinking this might be industrial related.
Yeah,
perhaps,
definitely. That makes sense.
Perhaps in regards to Taos.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go through a number of theories here. Let me ask you this, Chris. What do you think? So we're in New Mexico. This is a very small town. Very like artsy kind of cultural town. Very small population. Anywhere from 6,500, I think, to 8,000. There's not mountainous. There's no forest around there. That kind of like just arid plain kind of thing. What do you think's causing? All right, let me ask this. If anything, first off, do you believe these people? Sorry, let me put it that way. Do you believe these people are hearing a sound? Because they're reporting different. They're all reporting very different. What they're hearing is different.
Different sounds.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's not some form of tinnitus, right? So maybe
That is one of the theories.
I would think that I think they're hearing something, whether I think it might, I don't know. They're hearing something. It could be biological in that their
Right.
bodies are, because of the environment.
But that's the thing. That's what makes it difficult because like some see it as a consistent low humming buzz kind of sound, but others say it's like rhythmic.
Yeah, if it was all consistent, they're all hearing like the exact same thing, then
Right.
that'd be a little more, a little easier to believe.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Because how many people have tinnitus in the United States? So like,
So since
I
you
don't know,
brought tinnitus up, I'll throw that out there because that has been suggested.
how many people in the United States have hear some type of thing like this that are not living in this town? Yeah, that's the thing
United
is like,
States, yeah,
because if what you said, how many percent? What's the percentage of people in this town that are hearing it?
2%, and
Okay, so
they say worldwide anywhere from 2 to 5% worldwide here something like.
okay, so that would be kind of consistent. So that means 2% of the people in the city we live in probably same thing. Hear something like this.
Yeah, but when I say worldwide, there's only been like 4 or 5 documented cities that towns that have this is an occurrence, ongoing
Okay.
occurrence. So the tinnitus thing was brought up, but the thing is, it doesn't quite fit the traditional symptoms of tinnitus. But some people are saying maybe it's an extremely rare form of tinnitus, maybe. Um, really, like tinnitus is like if it gets bad, it can get like really bad.
Yeah, I heard it gets pretty bad. I mean, I've had bouts of it from playing music, and playing shows and
Or
stuff
yeah,
where you're like, God, this is horrible for like weeks. So my hearing is very sensitive to that type of stuff. But always thought that I was gonna have terrible hearing as I got older. So I was like, my hearing's gonna be screwed anyway. What do I care? I'm just gonna still play music and not wear um earplugs.
so I don't know if it was house or house, but at least I don't know if it was there or like one of these other documented cities that happens. But someone that did up actually like committing suicide because it's so hard for them.
Yeah, I
Which is
could
obviously
understand that.
terrible. Like that's something I had to deal with. Like I don't know, also like why wouldn't you move at that point? But maybe they couldn't do that. I don't know.
But or if they moved and it still did it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, how do you know?
There any reports of that? Like these people moved when they go on vacation, they don't hear, but as soon as they come back,
No, I didn't see anything like that. Well, one said like they flew. I don't know how credible the source was, but like they left and like it was a very brief statement. It was like, oh, they flew hundreds of miles away and they still reported. But I didn't see that in any other sources. So I don't know how accurate that was. I'd be curious to see if like these people are just like, hey, I'm leaving this town. Like I gotta get out of here because like literally drive me insane, cause me to have diarrhea. So maybe I should go somewhere else.
yeah, and that'll do it. The diarrhea will get you every time.
But tinnitus was one of them. So I'm gonna go obviously because any kind of conspiracy theory kind of thing. One is UFOs.
Oh yeah, this is what they're doing. Hmm.
Aliens are just trying to see who they want to kidnap. Maybe I don't know.
Who's
Like,
worthy of
yeah,
their?
yeah, yeah. Would that mean like you hear this sound? That means you'd be one of us. Or if you hear this sound, it means you're weak because you're pooping your pants. We don't want you.
But what are the ones that hear but don't poop their pants? Those are the ones that are going back to the
those ones that
mothership.
are worthy. The 2%, 2%ers.
It's like one of those things. So what if this whole thing was a test to see who could live? Because like there's special spaceships that like they have like all the best technology in the world, right? But it's
Yeah.
like this one thing is what goes on in their society. Like we can make the greatest, like cleanest energy. Everybody has everything they ever wanted, but there's this weird hum that comes from our motors and engines and power generation. It's just this, like if you could stand it, come
It's
on
like
board.
Darwinism. Like
Yeah.
If you can stand this noise, you're gonna live a good life.
What is that?
Otherwise,
What's
too
that?
much.
What's that thing? It's like the sound of Earth can do this to them. Like there was something. I think it was going back to that town in West Virginia. I watched a documentary on it. And there's people was like, "Hey, like I've been researching this for years, and the sound of the Earth can do this to you. Like the sound, like the Earth has a sound to it. no, it's the magnetic field or something.
Yeah,
And
I
so like
remember
that
hearing
could
that
cause
somewhere.
that too. So like maybe it's like one of those things where like all the people thousands and thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of years ago, the earliest man, there was like half of them heard this weird ring and they're like, "Oh, this is horrible," and they all just jumped off jumped off the mountain. And the ones that
That's
stuck around were like, "I don't know what the hell you're talking about."
that's the people we evolved from. The people that
Yeah,
stuck around.
who
That's
didn't
why
jump off the mountain, couldn't hear buzzing.
Neanderthals killed themselves off because of that.
Yeah, because of the ringing.
Some people said it's ghosts.
Nice desert ghosts.
One I thought was interesting was secret government experiments.
This goes back to the Dyatlov Pass.
That's what it was. Yeah. Yep. That's right. So like there has been times where the government has used sound, or like police have used sound to their own advantage.
Yes. There's like those weapons that they have that are
Yes.
like
I think it's
non-lethal.
LARDs or something like it's like
Yeah.
LRDS or something like that.
Yeah, and they use
think-
like basically really concentrated sound waves.
Yeah, to like I guess like there was some recent years here in the United States, there's some protests and maybe rioting going on that like police use some of those to disperse people. Obviously, the government has used sound as like a torture tactic in the past.
Yeah,
So
didn't
that's-
they in like when they were invading or during like the Iraq War, they did that. Like they would blast music like all night.
Yeah. Like I think it was Britney Spears
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
And before they invaded to make sure
Right.
all the people couldn't sleep.
Yeah. So either just loud music or just like focusing on a certain sound decibel at a certain sound at a certain decibel, like to like was so irritating that like would disperse people who are
Yeah.
they
Like you
wanted to
couldn't
get rid of.
stand near it like in that
Yeah.
area. Like it was horrible. I've seen that before. I've never actually experienced it one, but I've seen like
No, thank God.
that technology seems
And it's out there. I mean, so
Yeah.
maybe some people
I
are
don't-
like, hey, maybe that's going on around here. Because like in New Mexico, that's where they did the whole atom bomb.
Los Alamos.
They're like, so maybe they're doing something like this out here too.
Los Alamos Laboratory. Is that still out there? So maybe.
Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna get to a little bit more credible stuff. First, we got atmospheric phenomena. So changing atmospheric pressure, wind patterns, or subsonic sounds from distant storms create a low frequency hum that amplified in certain locations. So again, this is a flat area. The sound I would imagine carries better. It's not like as rugged.
Okay.
Seismic activity, maybe. Low frequency vibrations from an underground source like tectonic movements or volcanic activity could generate a barely audible hum.
That's what I've heard before, that
Yeah.
can cause it. Like I think it's in like earthquake zones. People are like, oh, I heard this weird. There's like that flash theory and like the weird hum theory.
Yeah. However, though, Taos is not located in a region with significant seismic activity. So that makes it kind of less. But yeah, I've heard the same thing. Like if you live out in, California near San Andreas Fault, like that makes sense, but maybe not so much here. Some believe that maybe this 2% just has better hearing than everyone else.
I believe that. When I was teaching kids, like elementary, I had to do student teaching in elementary, which is hell on earth. I would hear like just random conversations when the kids like from across the room and like,
Mhm.
think their teacher's listening, but like the wildest stuff, like the craziest things. You're like, I wish I could write this down and put in a book because it's hilarious. It's not like scary or like it's not I'm talking like
It's silly.
yeah, it's silly stuff. Like it's completely
Yeah.
silly stuff. You're just like the thing that just comes out of these kids' mouths that they say to each other, and you're like, that's wild. It's dumb, but it's wild.
It's dumb, but it's
All right. So
Next
you got
one
some
we got-
theories. Yeah.
industrial sound pollution. We kind of brought this up with the place in Canada. Certain materials in the environment or within buildings may amplify low frequency vibrations, creating a localized hum. This is kind of the case in Canada, like with the furnaces. Yeah, the furnaces. Once they
Blast furnace. Yeah.
blast furnaces, once they disabled them or deactivated them, like, oh, the sound went away. But the problem with that is like there's nothing like this going on near this town. But even if it's a flat area, maybe that sound could carry for like distance. I don't know.
Because you think of like places that have like the echoes, like that are perfect, like acoustical things. Like I showed
Yes.
you in my laundry room
Yeah.
that one time. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah,
one
yeah.
spot where like it's like a weird part of the room, but like it's this perfect area that you're standing there and you do
Right.
something, it echoes. But like
Yeah.
anywhere else in the room, it doesn't. So like, is it one of those where like in this one part because of this mountain is this distance away and this mountain is this distance away, or this hill is this angle and the
Right.
wind blows just right, that type of thing.
So they had like I said, they have all these experts coming in, and like one of the articles that they'll be posted in the sources is from the Acoustical Society. So like these people are like part of this, like they did this whole thing on it. And some of this equipment that you like I said earlier, maybe 2% of these people have better hearing than anyone else, or they'll pick up on this stuff. But like all the scientific equipment that was used would have picked it up as well, where it was coming from. So maybe that might not be the case. Another theory is electromagnetic activity. First, it might include power lines. First, you brought up the electromagnetic fields, EMFs,
Yes.
or natural geomagnetic fluctuations. However, no abnormal electromagnetic activity is consistently detected in Taos. This theory remains speculative.
Yeah, that's electromagnetic stuff. The power lines and stuff would
Right.
be like my first like, oh, it's probably power lines, but yeah, I don't.
But they did,
know
one of the
nothing about
extras were doing stuff. They did point out like there was some kind of weird, they found that at the time there was an elevated electromagnetic field linked to the town's power line. All right. So next one is mass hysteria, which we've talked about many times. Mystery. Maybe like someone's like, "Oh, did you hear that sound?" Yeah, I heard that sound. It kind of like becomes a craze in the town. But again, only 2% of people are hearing this. But like, that wouldn't explain the symptoms people are getting, like the nausea, the headaches, the memory loss, the diarrhea, trouble sleeping.
Sounds like a commercial.
Here in the United States, any commercial or ad for some kind of new medicine side effects.
They say them really fast in a real high pitched voice. They're like, what the hell did you say? My butt's gonna come out my mouth. I don't want that. I'm not taking that. Just
So
deal with itchy skin.
this last theory, like we talked about, us how we're able to like kind of hyper focus sound wise on something. The audiologist David Baguli asserts that the hum source could combine several previous theories. He thinks that those with sensitive hearing could first detect a low frequency sound caused by environmental conditions.
Yep.
Then that hearer becomes fixated on that sound.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a thing.
Yeah, since it becomes so fixated on that sound, it causes anxiety, produce auditory hallucinations. He suggests that the sound could remain inside the hearer's body after the external sound is stopped. The idea there is like he's like they can hear this, they're able to hear the sound, environmental condition like the wind brought the sound in, or like again they're living in a seems like a quiet town, flat, so the sound's going to carry better. I feel like maybe it could be wrong. But that person becomes so hyper fixated on it, keep thinking about it, cause anxiety, which in turn could do like these things to your body. Like it's going to make you give you headaches. It's going to it's so hyped up about it, like you could eventually cause physical pain to yourself, maybe.
Yeah, you can worry about anxiety type of thing. Yeah,
so
definitely.
That could give you diarrhea.
Oh, yeah.
It is to me.
I mean, it's crazy how much we're learning about in the last like 20 years, probably much of learning about like stress in the body, even like probably the last 40 years. But like how stress and like anxiety messes with people so horribly.
Right.
And like,
right.
There's people that just don't get anxiety or stressed out about stuff. There's people that definitely do. There's people that get stressed out about very specific things and get anxiety about it. And it's just like, it really screws with them. Like messes with them in different ways that we can't even understand unless you actually, and they're all a little different. So as hearing sounds like that, that's like, wait, you don't hear, like just the idea of someone hearing something, you hearing something that someone else, like your family can't hear. And you're just like, no, it's really making me insane. Please tell me you hear that.
Yeah, they'll probably think you're being crazy or like, hamming it up.
So that's like a huge thing that I imagine that people deal with all the time with this.
Yeah. Like, because I know I get stressed out. My stomach gets a little rumbly tumbly.
Rumble bumbles.
But I think and again, this is in one of the articles. It's in the links, but like someone brought up like they're asked like, why hasn't this been solved yet? And not only this town, but these other towns that I mentioned earlier. But the problem is, one, it's just a small portion of those people, and two, like, where you can get the funding for this.
Yeah, and how
If
can you
only a
replicate it?
yeah, if only a small percentage is feeling this way, it kind of becomes like a pseudoscience kind of thing. Like, kind
How
of
can they
starting into
record
like,
it?
right, you get into like conspiracy stuff, and like people look at like that's because that gets tied to the like no a lot of people like researchers and scientists would be like, yeah, I'm not touching that. Like, also you get to fund stuff like that. But if only
Right.
small, if it was like a bigger portion of the population was experiencing this, like it'd get funding right away to get to the bottom of it. But
Or if
this
one
is,
really rich guy was experiencing it.
yeah, sure, yeah,
But it seems like it seems like someone should have. Has anybody recorded it?
no,
That's what's
no
crazy.
one's been able to pick it up.
That's what's crazy because you can record some crazy crap out there. Like people are
Oh
able to
yeah,
record with really sensitive. I mean, we can
sure,
record all kind of junk from all over the world. I mean, they can record sounds from all over the world, literally from
yeah.
different locations. Like it's amazing. This sound that they can't hear. I mean, it could be anything in the town.
It could be some crazy artist who's just like, I don't mess with people for like 25 years.
Well, if they're all hearing something different though. Remember that what's that number station we listened to that one time?
So that's what made me think of that. Because I remember you showed me that in college. It was like that's supposed to be like a Russian.
Yeah, the Russian number station.
Yeah, and it just said random numbers and like random words here and there. And that I remember like we listened to that and like it really creeped me out.
Yeah, I don't know if that
Did
thing's still
they ever
around.
figure out? Did they ever figure out like what that was?
I mean, there were number stations that were pretty popular back in the Cold War, so I don't know. Doubt there was always stories of
Or
like,
like why it's still going and all that
yeah,
stuff.
and even now I think it's digital. So I don't know. I don't think people ever figured it out or like there were stories like someone traced the signal to like one building and it was like a building in Russia that no one can get into. I mean, maybe, but then it got digitized. Maybe someone, I don't know if someone like digitized it where they had like a receiver that can receive the signal, like the radio
Okay,
signal, and then they turned it into like internet signal, like into a digital signal, so they can broadcast to the internet. But like, I don't know. I wonder with like the war and stuff if like it's really popped off over there on that in that number station. I don't know. Maybe they turned it off.
maybe
No, maybe it was a scam or a hoax.
it's definitely possible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's how it usually goes.
All right, so what do you think, Chris? All the theories that get out there.
I think it's definitely a
Ghost.
environmental
Okay.
with coupled with people who mass hysteria.
Okay.
I think there is probably some kind of sound that some people can hear, and then other people jump on board and say they hear
That makes sense.
sounds.
Yeah, I hear it too. You
Yeah,
have
and
tourists coming in or just like, oh yeah, I heard it. I got to go there, and I was one of those people that heard it.
then someone opened up a hotel called Sound Waves or something, or and then
Sounds that make you poop.
yeah, and then that's it. The brown note in. If not, that's what we should do. We should cut that part out and open it right now.
Copyright it.
Brownnoteinc.org, .net. I don't know. I think it's probably mass hysteria, most likely, coupled with some people that do hear things and maybe have some type of tinnitus. But I don't know why different people are hearing or reporting different things.
That's what
It's
makes it
almost
weird.
Yeah, it's almost like that's the mass hysteria part. That makes me like not believe it.
Right. That's what I was gonna say the same thing. Like it was a legit thing. It made me like I'm sure there's maybe again it's only 100 something people, but like maybe there's only a handful of people who actually do hear something, but what that is, I'm not gonna don't know. But I do think there's definitely some like mass hysteria involved this because like, oh yeah, I hear it this way. I hear like a diesel engine. Someone's like, I hear a whirring, I hear, knee flat note. So that's what makes you think it's like not legit overall.
Yeah, it's weird that people. that people jumped onto that, but it has to be at least, I'm going to say a percentage of them. I'm not going to give an exact percentage because I don't want to sound sensitive. That it's probably a significant amount that are just mass hysteria level, like they think they hear something, or maybe they heard something and they're like, I heard this for like a day and then it stopped. It's just too random and can't be repeated at the same thing that's all being reported.
Right.
If all
Yeah.
these different people are reporting the same exact sound generally, then that means
That would
some of
make
them
it right. Yeah.
aren't believable. But if all these people are reporting something that's different, then that questions raises a lot of questions.
Or just be a mad scientist. Great experiments.
Like he's like a big like speaker on top of his like house out in the desert. Because I mean, there is instances of people like when people say they see ghosts like in a haunted house, and it's like
Mhm.
researchers will look into it. Like some researchers will be like, it's probably sounds because it's an empty house. All the windows are busted out of it. An old hospital, and they're
Sure.
hearing these sounds, and the way the wind is blowing, it's causing these vibrations in our mind, in our head, that
Just
we
get
are
worked up.
interpreting as some type of
Yeah.
And then you also have the idea of like how people uh take a little thing in their mind and then they almost like magnify it, where like we said before, almost like they can't hear anything else. Well, Jordan, I think we have a real mystery of why people tell lies on our hands. No, I don't know what they're hearing. Again, like I said, if we could hear the same sound, if they could record it, I believe it. But
Yeah.
there's no data, or there's no repeatable information or data
Yeah.
or
Like all
thing.
these scientists from like universities and it was Air Force, I think, or something like that. Like they came and were like, hey, let's figure out what this is. They didn't really pick up anything.
Yeah, I mean, there's like instances of like the Air Force and the Navy recording sounds that are like just wails from like across the the earth,
Sure.
and it's crazy that something that high pitched they wouldn't catch on some kind of recording. Maybe it's the way that it might be just some very specific instance where a person in the environment are interacting with each other in a certain way when the wind blows a certain way, and that's what happens. Going back to this, that's a UVB-76 buzzer, is
That's
what it's called, the broadcast tower.
yeah. And occasionally you just hear some like random Russian guy be like, "Rah, rah, rah."
There's sometimes the voice transmission is interrupted. I guess there's a time whenever once there was I don't know if it's often or something that says it was a tone or a buzz or sometimes a cartoon character like Yosemite Sam saying, "Varmint, I'm gonna blow you to smithereens." I don't know how. Again, Google AI is dumb as hell. Um, yeah, so you can still hear it. You can go listen to it. UVB-76. I'm sure if you're watching this show, you've heard of this thing before. It's crazy.
Maybe we should do an episode on that.
Maybe because there's like a lot of people who that's like kind of the first. I think that's like the first internet thing people get into, and again, the mysterious things. Tons of videos on it out there. Let us know in the comments if you want us to do a video on something that's been overdone to death. Okay, Jordan. You don't think this is real, but what do you think it is? I don't know if I asked you that.
I do think it's maybe like already kind of discussed, like someone did hear something, a couple of people heard something, a noise, they're like, oh, what was that? Coming from the environment, became hyper focused on it, and then like they told their neighbor, and then like it kind of got around and was like, oh, yeah, I heard that too, and then like all kind of like
You can almost make yourself hear things and see things.
yes, yes, yeah, right. Like yeah, in the middle of the night, you're like, when you're a kid, middle of the night, you're just like, dark room. Oh, what was that noise? It's probably just, the furnace kicking on or wind. Like, oh, it's an alien. And you're in the dark and you're like, oh, what was that thing moving around? It was just a shadow. I don't,
That's like
like yourself worked up.
every like I don't know, every alien encounter that people probably had is probably like that type of thing where they're forcing themselves to believe something or they hear something or see something. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that happens a lot. Probably most experiences that we have that are supposedly paranormal are probably like that. Whether they're all like that, I'm not going to say because I don't know. I think a lot of them are that. You know, if you freak yourself out enough. Do I think there's like paranormal stuff going on in the world? Probably. Some way, maybe. I'd hope. I really hope so because that gives us more episodes. But also, it makes things a lot cooler.
Yeah, I mean, I want to experience some stuff.
Yeah, whether it's an alien or... Yeah.
Bigfoot, ghosts.
Yeah, anything. Literally anything. Just come on over and let us know what's going on. I'd love to know if there's life after death. That would be great. But right now, we're not going to figure it out or solve that. Or we actually probably spread more information, disinformation or misinformation right now in this episode, which we're wants to do, maybe? No?
Are you asking me that?
I don't know. Anyway.
No.
Jordan, thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks, Chris.
Thanks for taking us on a ride in the Frozen Express.
Being here but not here together.
Being here in heart and spirit. In sound. Jordan, thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks, Chris.
Thank you, everybody out there, for tuning in, watching us. If you're watching us, you can also listen to us on any podcast platform. If you're listening to us, you can watch us on YouTube. You can find us on most social media. They're all in the links below. Please check it out. Send us an email at mysteriousponline@gmail.com. If you have any questions or comments or want us to read some emails on the air, please send us those in, and we'd love to hear from you. If you have a topic you want us to cover, like that Russian buzzer thing, we would love to take you up on that, maybe. But anyway, till next time. Check out Watch Pals. Watchpals.show. That's watchpals.show. Every week, new episode on Tuesdays. This current episode, it came up last week as the date of this posting, is The Greasy Strangler, which is a weird ass movie. And you want to... What's that?
Tiptoes is next, I think, by the time this comes out.
Yeah, the day after this episode goes live, Tiptoes will be out. That episode about Tiptoes, which is a movie dumb as hell. Spoiler alert. If you want to, again, help us out, just tell your enemies, tell your friends about the episode, about the show, and tell them to listen. We would love to get more listeners. And next time, we'll be back in a week with another episode. Jordan, thanks again for being here.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Thanks, everyone, for listening, especially if you stuck around.
Especially if you stuck around. We'll see you next week. Same mysterious time, same mysterious place. Probably on the internet, maybe. It's been cold. We don't know. Good night.